about to talk to about a subject that blows my mind, right? Hey, coconut water, thank you. Absolutely blows my mind. And it's something I've been noticing, I've been on the receiving end of. And I've had to, and it took me a while to do this because I had to really delve. Because when I'm all of a sudden getting this much level of access, inclusion, and privilege, I'm like, what's it for? Like, because y'all in this greater society, this main society, y'all like to use people. And y'all be real charming if you can get something out of it. That's something I've learned about the society that we are living in, that we brought up in. So I want to talk about it. And I'm going to tell Black women what I've experienced. And I want you to know it's I'm going to tell you one of the privileges, and it is a privilege, right? It's not a privilege I was looking for or asked for. But one of the main privileges is a very high level of inclusion, extremely, and class mobilization, because I have a very obvious biracial daughter. So I want to caveat this first before we get into it. Please, I've now learned it's very important, please, to say and ask people to hit like and subscribe. If you want to know more, if you're here watching the replay, just say your replay gang, just so I know. And for the algorithm, I would highly appreciate that if you guys can give me that effort. Now, quick update before we get into this. Just thought some of you guys might care. Right now, I'm going up to DC to fly out to France. Language immersion. I have like a sailboat boat tour with like 6 other French people I don't know, along like in France, in Marseille. I also have like a meetup with a language tutor, and like he buys people. I found an experience where he buys people drink, but you get to practice your French. And he has his friends there too. He meets every Friday with his friends, like 7 o'clock at this place, but whatever. I'm meeting with him at another time, but we scheduled it through the Experience app. So I am offering language immersions on my other channel. It's called Learn French with Layla. I'm teaching myself French, but I became conversational pretty quickly, so I started teaching my 6-year-old daughter. So I'm walking through this slower process of teaching her over the next few years, but I just put us reading French stuff and French playbooks and children's books, just because I want parents who've never learned a language yourself, who might think it's intimidating. I want you to see the process, to see you just start little by little, easy by easy, until you get there. Me and my daughter did a language immersion trip, very social, last year in Quebec for spring break. And this year we're going to Montreal, Canada. I will be posting if anyone would like to join us for language immersion and do a group trip. I'd like to invite you guys and even work with us and sort of coordinate and help out if you want to teach your own child, French or a foreign language. It wasn't hard for me because I already learned Spanish, so I learned the mechanism. I'm a communicator too, so when you're a communicator, it's easy to learn a language. So learning French was like it's challenging, but once you already know how to learn a language, it's literally the same thing, right? And it's a Romance language. So I just want to put that out there. I'll put a link below on the other site, Learn French with Layla, if you're interested in doing the same. But yeah, this is a global world, and I'm preparing my daughter for the globe, not for America. America has so many ways. I love this country, honestly. I'm very functional in it. But logically, you're starting to lose and not be as competitive as other places. I'm talking college and university. It's actually more competitive for my daughter to learn German, French, Spanish, or Portugal and go to a school over there for undergrad. Not only is it cheaper, it's safer, and it's just if you go to an accredited school, it'll be accepted over here if she wants to go to grad school. And I'm only paying $1,000 a month fully for full tuition and very minimal prices for her to attend college. US, you're not, and then she gets to travel all over Europe, which has so much, I think, better travel opportunities and diversity. So, America, you're not even it anymore. So people paying $40,000 a year to send your kid to these American colleges. I'm not going to read it because I'm driving, but I just clicked on it. Coconut water for you, or Ayla. So, so just putting it out there. So I wanted to say I'm going to France, and this is my solo trip. My solo trip is focused on fitness, beauty, and health. So because I'm by myself, I can do my face mask that I love to do and my derma rolling, and I'm going to try to walk 2 hours a day. I'm going to try to come back from this beautiful trip from France slimmer than when I left. So I just lost 5 pounds over the last 2 weeks being really strict with my carnivore diet. So we're gonna see what we can do, right? Eating like out, but like making sure I walk twice a day. I will let you guys know if I am successful. We can do it because this is a solo trip. Even more beautiful, or come back and have the time for yourself that you have in your home, and you have every once your very beautiful, moist, delicious, feminine energy as they do mine. So, it's just me. So that's the goal. All right, so that's a quick life update. Let's talk about this. This has been on my mind. It's taken me a while because I had to see, but when me and my Layla went up to Quebec, Canada, and we got the same exact treatment and level of inclusion, I was like, oh my goodness. Disclaimer, I am not someone who kisses anyone's ass. If you're a black woman out there, I don't kiss anyone. I don't kiss anyone's ass. It irritates a lot of people because I'm supposed to get in line and just follow people. And I'm like, well, actually, I don't agree with it. I think you're wrong. It's okay, right? I don't kiss anyone's ass. I don't kiss white people's ass. I don't kiss black people. I don't kiss anyone's ass. And it irritates the F out of people when you want me to go along with you. So just putting that out there. However, I am observant and I'm strategic and I'm fluid. I'm a Pisces. So when I start noticing stuff and it's to my benefit and to my baby's benefit, I'm going to say something. I'm going to let you guys know because sometimes I feel like because of the way I put myself out there, I'm just more hip. I'm just hip to like that game, the power game, society game. I just feel so I always want to share with you guys because it is a game and I just want you guys to know what rules are in it. And being born black in America, the first part of my life, like half the people I met were racist, white Americans, the other half weren't. What you supposed to do with that? You can't trust people with half and half. I don't know which half you are. So it really takes a long time. So you just develop some mechanisms. But, if you're someone like, people call it quirky. I don't think it's quirky. It's just I like what I like and I don't follow a crowd. So if I like playing a recorder, I will go to a recorder meetup group or go to the recorder community. If I have a weird looking dog, I'll go to the weird looking dog community, whatever. I'm really into my own passions and things. And so I tend to find myself to be the only black person in white spaces. And you get a feel for, depending on what part of the country you're in, how you're reacted to, right? And in different cities and different locations in the West Coast and the South and the Southeast is different than the South because it's still the East. In the Midwest, it's different, right? But that is as a solo black female. Black female and black men, we're different species. So it's just a different way of which they see us or view us or include us. So just want to say off the bat, was I ever included? No. Was I accepted? Yes. And there's a difference. Accepted's like, okay, she talks the talk. She has enough mannerisms. She's of our class. So, not going to kick her out and she's fine. Right? That's acceptance. Acceptance isn't doing anything extra for you. It's accepting you're there, though, and not blocking you out, not putting any walls up. So that's been my life. Acceptance, which is fine. I wasn't chasing anything else. I didn't know about anything else. And then something happened. Two things happened. A lot of class mobility, too. I want to talk about that as well. And that all came through my kid. I had my first child. With my white ex-husband. My white ex-husband's pretty white. He's Polish and Italian. He's pretty white. And he takes a lot of the Polish aspects. So it looks extra Polishy white. And we had a daughter. My daughter is very obviously biracial. Now, she is a lighter presenting. In the current community, we call it, instead of white passing, we call it white presenting biracial child. So I would love for those with black presenting biracial children, or there's black fertility, but then there's like biracial where they don't look black or white, they just look biracial. Please tell me your experiences on what I'm going to occur because I'm wondering what's the cutoff, right? Now, I've been out in places with like my black nieces and nephew who are absolutely adorable, and I've had Caucasian people come up and go, oh, they're so cute, and be extra nice and kind, but not in the way I'm about to describe. And like I said, us going to Quebec sort of sealed it. We're going to go to France too for language immersion this summer in July. I already know what's going to happen. I do, and it's weird. Okay, so this is very much so for a white presenting biracial child, and we're going to talk about that at the end. Because now that I know this, do I choose to be even more strategic if I have another child? Take that as you will. We'll get to that later, but I got to tell you the story first to go. So when I'm by myself, acceptance. However, I noticed when I take my child with me, so I share custody with my ex-husband. He has her every weekend. She goes to school with me. She goes to school with me because where he lives is a super racist town. He doesn't really see it as much as I do, which was one of the problems, which is fine. You know, I'm not like dissing him on that. You know, they are who they are. But I have her come with me for the school year. So 5 days a week, she's with me, weekends with him. We're actually going to switch that because there's a French language immersion school where he lives in Virginia, so she's going to go there. So she's with me 5 days a week. When I have her, I start taking her out to kid-friendly places. So kid-friendly places, restaurants. But you guys know my favorite thing to do is karaoke. So I find these family-friendly joints. And I go to different ones all over the region. There's like 20. So there's so many. I haven't even been to them all. So I started going out with her, and I noticed this very interesting level of treatment I get when I'm with her versus by myself. By myself, I'm fine. There are places I've gone to in the Hampton Roads area where it's like, you're black. You don't do that. And I don't go back there, right? Okay, y'all ain't really go black. I'm not about to prove how nice I am. I'm not about to this place. Honestly, I think it's their loss. I was like, you don't deserve my fun, my excitement, the energy that I can create just by having fun. You guys don't deserve it. So whatever. So I leave. But other places I go, I get accepted. Same places I go. Or maybe a different place. I bring my white presenting biracial daughter. And the privilege, you privilege, that I never knew. No one tells you this. No one talks about this. What kind of treatment did I notice my daughter getting, and thus me? I noticed all of a sudden we'd be sitting there, and people would come up to our table just to talk. And the white women and white men were very different. White women, honestly, I have to be a little curt with them. I don't exist. They just love this white presenting biracial child. They want to ask her her age, what's her name, and da-da-da-da-da. And depending on their energy, I might allow a couple of questions, but after that, I like to butt in as they ask, well, then da-da-da-da. I'm like, Layla, you don't have to answer every question a stranger asks you. You can tell her no thank you. I do it right in front of them. So sometimes I got to get curt because they do the same thing. Like when it comes to, they do the same thing. It's the same rule, the same program, all right? Like I know what the white women are going to do. For the white women, they just really enjoy a white presenting biracial child. So I understand because I'm in Virginia and I go to plantations or slave museums. And I constantly hear about white women taking some of the biracial children of their slaves and bringing them in the house. And I know it's the whiter ones because for white women, it's sort of, why are they getting the tan, right? Why are they trying to wear our cornrows even though it looks horrible on them, right? It's sort of for them, it's like, this is what we're supposed to look like. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's obvious by their actions. That's what they're thinking. It's like, you know, it's obvious by black women's actions. They're thinking something that's not quite self-acceptance, right? So they love the child. And I mean, I get out of my car, they see my little baby, they will cross, this has happened multiple times, they will cross the parking lot, they will cross the restaurant, they will da-da-da-da-da. It happened when we were in Quebec, it happens here, it happens everywhere, it happens in Vegas. They will go out of their way to come and say hi. But for white women, it's to talk to my daughter. They just really think she's cute. They want me to know she's cute. They want Layla to know she's cute. If I take her to the grocery store, the white lady cat, the black women are fine. They are just normal freaking women. White women, I figured out what they're doing. They're trying to curry favor. So, the cashier lady at the thing, she doesn't give all these children's toys, but she'll give my white presenting biracial child to a black mother a toy, right? And I figured out for them, it's just they're trying to curry favor because they always think they're better. It's programmed in them. Now, it's not right, but they do think so. So when they see this white presenting biracial, which is sort of like their tan version, they're like, oh no, we're better. And let's be really charming and nice. So she knows that we're the side she wants to go to. Now, not happening because because she's a biracial child of a black woman, she gets that warmth and love of a black woman. That is why our biracial children can marry princess. And I'm not saying this lightly, but there's a warmth that black women have at all levels, and it's known. And not necessarily all women have that, right? But black women on average have it, like more of them have that warmth, that energy of warmth. And our white presenting biracial child gets that warmth in addition to that white body. Like, I'm very aware of energetics. For them, they're just like, it should be me. And so I don't care where I'm at since this baby, and she was a very white looking baby. It's always been this. They are going to come up, they're going to talk, mostly just to talk to the child. They think the child's cute and they think that they would be a better parent. I got their number. I handle this. That's why sometimes I do things like I just say those little pointed comments in their face because they need to know, like, we're shutting this down in a nice, nasty way. So nice, nasty is perfect for them. But they do the same thing. And after a while, you're going to learn how to adapt. Now, the white men is the inclusion and privilege part I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you some of the things I get when I'm with her that is absolutely staggering. And honestly, it wasn't until my last trip to Quebec where I got the same exact treatment we both did that I realized this is it. It just is what it is for this society. And I'm going to go into detail on it because it just took me a while to like understand all the dynamics. And I had to ask a lot of white men, like that I trusted with intellect and common sense that I could trust, that I got a nice little roster of them that I can rely on and to get their input too to see if I was right. So when she's with me now, the white men, they are so accommodating. And they're so accommodating in a way, like even if a white woman came in with her white kids, like she wouldn't get that level of accommodation. And of course, that's sort of obvious. I'm Black, so they just want to make sure. But it's very interesting. And I'll give you some examples. My daughter, I drive her, long distances to go places, especially to meet her dad. She might have to go to the bathroom. Judge me all you want, but she has to pee all the time. So I'm always stopping on the side of the road. And, we've learned to open the car doors and I cover and she does it. It's just too much to try to, I don't like going to bathroom. I'd rather she go on the side of the road than in a dirty 7-Eleven bathroom or a clean grocery store. There's just so many more germs there. So I do that. And I have to tell you the number of times when we're doing that and I'm just sitting here and she's there too. And a random white guy in a truck sees us. And he's like, "Are you guys okay? Are you okay?" Stopping their cars multiple times. I'm just like, "No, it's cool." I make eye contact before they even stop. Now it's cool. We got it. So I was like, okay, I noticed that. Nothing big. So then I take her with me maybe to a family-friendly karaoke bar and grill, right? It's a restaurant bar. So we're there. We're near the karaoke room. And this happened 4 or 5 times. We get free stuff. One of the guys will walk up to us and go, "Oh my God, da 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 da." I'm like, we're going to both try to sing today. And does she need anything? Does she need this? I'm going to go tell the DJ right now that you guys want to play. I'm like, okay, thank you. All right, do you need anything? You want a drink? Let me get the little girl something. To get her a free drink from wherever, from the restaurant. I'm like, okay. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, wow. Y'all really be going out of your way. And then they invited me to another event and then another event. And I'm like, okay, wow, And some of these guys are married. This isn't even just some are single, some are married. And so I honestly didn't think any of this was for me. At first, I was just thinking, and I think this is accurate as well as the other layers to this, because it's a very layered conversation. I start realizing that they're trying to curry her favor. And another white guy I talked to actually confirmed this when he was saying this. I was like, yep, I knew it was that. Okay. They're trying to, because he asked, compared to how, if Black men or guys see her and how do they react, versus white men. And I was like, well, I mean, she's around and exposed to both, but the way the white men who are dads and husbands or whatever go out of their way to treat her and then me, there's no competition about who she's going to choose. So I think of all of it's it's sort of like a competition where they're we want her to choose our side. So I told you with the white women, we want her to look at us as the better ones. We're the superior ones. So it doesn't matter where she goes, the white woman, her innate jealousy will come out and she's trying to curry the favor. The white men do the same thing. And I will say again, I have a whiter presenting biracial child, so it's like a tan version of them, but slightly tan. You've seen my daughter, she can be a little light, but then she has my hair texture, so I have her hair in these beautiful braids. So she gets the lighter skin that they think is, what they're programmed to think is the best. But she also has our hair, right? She has my mom. She has my love and energy. right? Super loving. The energy of love shoots. She's healing. We're healing. Black women are healing, right? She gets that. So they sort of look at her as like, this is sort of what we're trying to be, and this little girl has it. So white men, I found, were like trying to like, not like they're pedophiles or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just because, when if you're a dad, you like little kids, you're like, oh my God. It's just like, but I picked up low key. It's like, oh, okay, we need to make sure that when this girl grows up, she's going to choose us. It's honestly that. And they go above and beyond, because I know if a white woman with biracial kids came on, I don't think they would only care because they like kids, but like they could care less about currying her favor. They don't care what they're going to do with it. But for me, as a Black woman with a biracial child, there's multiple levels of currying this favor. One, they want the child to grow up and go, this is the side I want to identify with. They want my white presenting biracial child to be like, we like white. It's really competitive. They want this representation that they think is like the better version of white. She has the melanin, she has the warmth, she has the cool hair, she can do the styles. She has the skin. They think that's a version. So they're trying to curry her favor. On top of that, there's me. And I wasn't quite sure, because there's married men who do this. So they're not trying to flirt with me. Their wives would come over and start talking to me. They're the ones who invited me to the other events and told me about them, where they were. Okay. So I didn't think it was necessarily because they were trying to get at me at all. I just thought, wow, they really are like, they really just want my daughter to go, we're the side to choose and pick, right? But then there is a level of so I can be, Burger King yesterday was my time. Like Target, it could be Target, it could be when I take her out to a restaurant. When in Quebec, I'll tell you about in Quebec, that was hilarious. Same thing, but slightly different, because they're different type of white people. And hold on one second, I have to check the before I make that turn. White man, so I did think it was just them, because I've had married men, their couple of wives come over to talk to us, and they cross the parking lot just to tell me my daughter is beautiful and cute, But yeah, so, but there is a level. It's just their walls come down and they become very charming towards me. So they'll go, do you want to drink? And mom, do you want to drink? What can I give you? What are you doing? And it's still, and this happens all the time. Or like maybe the cashier that'd be like, hi or bye. I swear to God, as soon as they see my daughter, the white guy sees my daughter, bam, da-da-da-da-da-da. What else is going on? That didn't happen before. It happened after, right? So I was just like, what in the world? But basically what I'm saying is there's this, let me tell you the Quebec trip, which really sealed it, and which is why I'm more comfortable telling you about this, because if this happens internationally, it's a thing. So I went to Quebec, same thing. I took her to this really cute coffee shop. What happened? White women wanted to talk to her, take our pictures, say whatever to her. I'm like, okay, things don't change. We're in Canada. They're Canadian. They're Quebecois. Same thing. But it was the other one. So a group of teenagers on the floor. They see Layla. They all have to tell me she's gorgeous. I'm like, thank you. That's my little sweet pea. The guy lets her throw a snowball at him because Layla's never seen snow. She's like, they're like, throw a snowball. I don't know. So he plays with her. And I'm like, okay, same thing. Taxi driver, same thing. Then we're at a restaurant. There's no one there. It was snowing and raining. We had gotten to a restaurant before the land of seeing like the old city. And we're by ourselves, just enjoying ourselves. I'm a real chill like parent when I travel with Layla, because she has a very short, we only do one or two things. So we're very chill because she gets tired, right? So which is cool, because in my vacations with her, it's really relaxed. Like I can't do 18 things. We do one or two. One of them's eating, right? We're in there, and two older gentlemen, maybe in their 50s, come over, maybe even 60s. You can't always tell with white men. Sometimes they're a little older or younger than me. And I swear, we're just sitting there, and we're the only ones there. And they walk and get a table next to us, but he goes out of his way, one of them, to look at me, smile, and go bonjour, madame. But not like in France and France, you're supposed to say hello to everyone. It just is what it is. I've learned that that's just one of their customs. This wasn't like that. This was like in a smile and a nod. And I'm like, that was just so interesting. We're here, sees my biracial child. He goes out and he walks the whole way. So he saw like who was sitting here also. He goes out of his way to go hello and let me know that he was here. And so we leave, and he makes sure he sees that he saw, like, he makes sure that, like, he gets my attention to say goodbye. Didn't say any words to him, but he was definitely opening the door. And then I realized a couple of things now of what's happening. Because when you go international and see the same behavior, you're like, oh gosh. Felicia, fetishizing. I think people need to relax on that word, right? Because it has a negative tone, but sometimes it's just like, if a white person sees someone who's tan and they think that tan person's better, okay? Is it wrong? Well, it's not the highest self-acceptance, right? But they generally do admire that Hispanic-looking woman with her caramel skin, right? So I think we just got to be careful with that, because it has this thing like, oh, because you like that, that means you don't like it. But yes, is it like, this is why I'm tanning. This is why I want to do the hair this way. This is why I get the lip injections. It is, and the only reason I'm not using it because that's such a negative tone, but I get what you mean, because the negative tone takes us to this direction, but it's a complex thing, right? We think that's how we're supposed to be. That's a superior model to how we are, and we admire it. But yeah, it can have negative connotations. What it is, though, like I said, low key at the end of the day, it is choose our side. So you got to understand, everything isn't, fetish is too surface and shallow. It's deeper than that, right? It is choose our side. When you get older, choose our side. When you get younger, choose your side. When you develop your political beliefs, choose our side. So I've really gotten it down to, we want you to choose our side, because when the white women are buying her gifts or giving her extra stuff, when they're giving her extra stuff, it isn't because they're fetishizing. It's because they want her to go, oh, I see you have a black mom, but no, we're better. And they're not, but it's just how they're programmed. And so me understanding them, just like, you can't go and just deprogram them out of that. They're going to have a large plurality. Yes, you have a better understanding, Lauren, of what's going on that's deeper. They want her to favor. They want this woman with her black mom to favor. And I'm going to go into the multiple layers of competition that's there. And competition isn't bad. It's ingrained in their culture if you haven't been paying attention. That's why when you go to France, it's French versus Belgium versus Germany, and they're always competing. That is ingrained in their culture to compete. That's part of it. It's ingrained in their culture to compete or to win favor, because win favor and win people and we win in the hearts and mind, you have power and influence, right? It's like when Candace Owen as a black woman is conservative, it's a lot more powerful than another white person being a conservative. You already have a bunch of white people being conservative. When you can start to get other people outside of your coalition to agree with you ideologically, it just has more weight for you. It's a power and influence game. You with me? So it's cool that you said it, Felicia. I got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's cool that you said it, because it is something, but what I had to go deeper to, like, what the real deal is, and you got to understand, they work in power and influence. When people choose their side, that's power, right? So, where was I? Okay, when I saw this in France. So what I found that what I get and I receive as a woman, and I got this pretty consistently from all the white men that I asked. I asked like 6 different ones about the situation, and between all 6, I sort of figured out the complexities of what's going on. They were like, you chose our side. If I shoot my shot at you, if I'm charming to you, I have a chance with you. I know you're not going to shut me down. You already chosen white. You like us. You like us a lot. You like us enough to have our kids. So on a sexual, not sexual, because we're not sex. I mean, like, just as a male and female interaction, the privilege of which they're going, wow, we think this is the version of white. I don't know. It's just very interesting. But like Lauren said, they know she's biracial, right? Like, they're not saying she's a white child, right? They are though including her in their group, and it's because she has a black mom. That's what I really want to stress, because if I was a white woman, I didn't choose their side. She chose the other side. She chose the other side that they think they honestly don't always have the highest impression of. So what do they care? Like, as far as she's concerned, what about her? But when you're a black woman and you choose their side, wow, we know y'all don't be messing with us. So for you to break through all that programming to choose us, that, I'm gonna say, it's just like validating. It's a feather in the cap. It's like, yeah, and we're gonna get more of y'all to choose us. And at the end of the day, when I got with my ex-husband, we got together because we love each other. We still are friends, right? Like, it's nothing weird. But there's a level of, for some men, there's just a level of, wow, if I can get a black woman, that must be really great, because they don't just be messing with anyone. But it's not in a super shallow, superficial way. What I'm saying basically is that I've noticed when I'm with my biracial child, at those times and moments, and forever after they know I have her, I'm covered in their protection. When my daughter got sick, those white folks were like, do we need to come up to Richmond for you? Like, I mean, when they go, oh yeah, she's ours, not that she is, but like, we want her on our team, the level of which she is now included in all the customs and strict discipline that they give each other to make their society function the same way. Yeah, it is deep. It is deep. Yeah. That's why it took me about a good year to do this for you guys, or 6 months. It was, like I said, it's when I went to Canada and got the same treatment that I was like, okay. So I actually get included a level of protection by the men, tolerated at a slightly higher rate by the women. But true protection and inclusion, I can call them and ask them for help on a job. I can call them for references. I can call them to make phone calls. If I'm on the side of the road, they're going to stop and help me, period. The same that they probably do with, maybe if there was like 10 cars that drive by, you know what I mean? Like there's certain men in certain cultures, like Hispanic men. I don't care where I am. If I have a problem on the side of the road, Hispanic men have the culture of stopping by for everybody. They are the best. I swear they've helped me like 3 times in my life. But I'm telling you, if I'm with her, they're stopping, period. They can't wait to stop. They are not going to have that little white presenting biracial child on the side of the road and not get his support and help. I'm telling you this is real. It didn't matter if I'm here. It doesn't matter if I'm Quebec, because of this, because I chose their side and I have this daughter, and this daughter is sort of like there's a study that white people and Japanese people are looking at biracials, and they consistently rock the biracials pretty either Japanese or white, right? And what the conclusion I get from that is that they just think white mixed with other is better, like it's in them. I don't have that problem. Black women don't think like that. We think we're the best, right? So I don't relate to it, but scientifically I can observe and go, oh, so that's why my daughter, and white people say this the most, biracials are the cutest child in the world. To them, it is, because it's better. And I remember I talked to this black one about it. She's from Tennessee, and she was like, that's why they were so mean. If you don't really like yourself, it's really easy to be mean and so hateful during slavery to others. So it just correlates with the history, the science, that's what they think. It is not, we are different species. That's not what I feel black women think at all. I think we generally like ourselves. We love our blackness. Like, we don't want to, like, at all. So this is me understanding their culture from more of a scientific viewpoint. But the surprise wasn't extending to me. I'm not looking for anyone's favor per se. Outside of like a normal conversation, I want you to be nice to me. I wasn't looking for inclusion in the white society. Until then, half y'all were racist, and you are. The other half isn't. Makes it hard to know who to trust, right? And especially depending on what part of the country you're in. However, going more into my femininity and then noticing this trend of outright, you get our protection too. If that child's with you, like, we're part of it. It's been just very interesting. So now I'm seeing and observing it worldwide. We're going to go to France. I already know how the white women are going to act. Like, they might be different, but for the most part, and I've showed other people my child, and they could like tell immediately that she's biracial. So my baby is obviously biracial. There's no was it motorcade or something? Going out to DC to fly out to France today. So, so that was just very interesting. So it is a privilege. So if I go to the same spots, once they know that I'm included, my baby will get free drinks. No one else get free drinks. As I think sometimes they're like, okay, do I gotta get that other kid free drinks about your daughter? But I think so the complexity is what took me so long to get it, because I really had to go deep. So there's a couple. One, they want her to choose our side. Okay. And it's funny because I'm telling you this because white folks are in power because they play those games of power and influence. Currying favor, giving gifts, charming, specifically to make sure you choose us. We don't even think like that. I do now because I've been observing them. When it comes to power moves, they are the best. I'm sorry, they are. Asians are pretty good too, but whites, man, when it comes to power moves, they get the game. So everyone's on code. We want her to choose our side. White women, slightly more tolerable I am to them. White men, I am fair game. I am a black woman that is open to dating white men, and they enjoy that. They think if you chose us out of all that from how they view our community, they're just like, I'm here for it. So that's been super interesting. And like I said, I asked my white male friends, because this is sort of a deep thing to like be talking about. And it's because she's obviously biracial. So if the kid's biracial, but they can't tell if the father's possibly white versus Asian or white versus Hispanic, I don't think it would be the same. So I would say this is specifically for black women who have a lighter presenting, where it's real obvious the dad's probably white, biracial kid. And she looks biracial. She looks like Megan, like the coloring. She doesn't look like Megan. She has the coloring of her. So she's like, yeah, biracial kid, light skin biracial kid. That is extended towards them. And so, like I said, if I'm with my child and we're in any distress whatsoever, I don't care if we're at Home Depot, I don't care if we're at Lowe's, I don't care if we're at the grocery store, this is constant. That baby is going to get treated like she's not a blonde, white hair child. She's treated like one, though, right? Now, all of this was a surprise to me. I did not have a child, when I had a child when I was in 2016, my concern was, I wonder how she's going to navigate and if she'll find acceptance from either side. And of course, I moved strategically too. If I live in the deep South, I'm sure those little white kids love telling everyone else who's other, they're other, right? But I don't live in the deep South because I know how they are, and it's just not. I grew up on the West Coast. I can't deal with that level of ignorance and nonsense and programming. But so you don't do it. You're worried about that, and then all of a sudden you get older. She gets more obviously biracial. You have this continual treatment as they grow, and as she's getting older now, putting her hair in these beautiful braids and buns, and she can do all the styles I can do because she has like a slightly looser texture than mine, but she has black hair, right? And so I'm noticing all this, and I'm like, okay, when she's with her, like there's me, because of those the currying of the favor, wanting you to choose this side. Plus, now I know that you're open to us and that you like men like us. We're gonna shoot a shot. It's just been a very interesting level of being offered protection. In the Quebec trip, when I told you the guys walked in and made sure to say hello and made sure when I left that they said goodbye, it was what I understood, and this is energetic, so sometimes you have to be able to see what's unspoken. It was like, no, you're one of us. So anything happens, we got you. Very interesting place to be. And of course, I tested out. I was like, how much you got? Testing it out. I was like, okay, they do follow through. This isn't just talk. And so I wanted to say a lot of black women now are talking about having biracial children and da-da-da-da-da. And I want to know, please, biracial children with darker presenting, black presenting, or just middle skin tone presenting biracial kids, let me know, do you get this as well? Because I for the most part, men can tell biracial. Like white people know what biracial is. Like they can look and be like, oh, she's biracial. They're not like, oh, she's black. Oh, she's like, no, just like us, they can all tell, right? Just let me know if that's been the same experiences. I'm curious. I don't know. But for the others, there is that. And so it's very interesting because I've noticed when black women get with Hispanic men, they tend to have the darker complexion. Biracial children or Asian, it tends to be a little darker complexion. And so, with a white guy, you're looking at either, I've noticed personally, black women tend to, when they have biracial kids with white men, it does tend to be lighter or straight up white sometimes. Like, it's just what I've noticed. I'm in a biracial Facebook group, and All of our biracial children in that group, when we do happen to post pictures, are generally from lighter biracial color to white. So it's just what we produce, which was probably being produced on the slave plantations during all that runaway bullshit that was happening. So hold on one second. Right. So that's what's going on. And so now let's get to strategy. Now I figured out they're like, we want you on our side. We want you to choose us as better. We want you to choose us like this is the side I want to go to. Look how well they treat me, right? Power and influence. The mom is like, as far as the men are concerned, they're like, yo, okay, you're with it, I'm with it, okay. Like, you are obviously on our team. So basically, I'm on their team. Not could be on the team. We want your baby to be on the team, but like, no, you're on the team. And that's when I was like, one of the white guys I talked to, he was just like, how do black men respond to her? Because we just like kids, right? So we're going to be nice to kids regardless. Like, just play with them and get them to loosen up and have fun. And that's what I was just like, I mean, they're nice too. I'm just saying comparatively, there's no competition though, because y'all be going out of your way to make sure she feels like a good, nice, and special kid. More so, I'm telling you, more so than like white kids that they don't have to carry the fever. They got them in the bag. It's the people that have enough of them, but like can be turned, that the work is put in for very deep. And so I'm thinking, I'm open to having one more child. And I'm like, interestingly enough, now that I know this, and I did not know this before, do I strategically I'm coming back, sorry. So the question for me is just like, wow, I wasn't looking for inclusion, but yo, apparently I got it. And how do you get inclusion? Well, if the main society is white and they're the ones in power, and you marry one of their men and they're the ones in power, you get included. That's it. So if I'm in China and I marry a Chinese man, possibility exists. It's the same thing. It's age old. It's just very interesting in a society because they're, like I said, acceptance I've always had just because I walk and talk their talk. Inclusion and protection, not like this. But they're protecting me and that child. That child's not going to be sitting on the side. No, they are stopping, getting the police, and helping. It's they are giving her just as much energy as like one of their own. And I thought that was interesting. So of course I'm going to let her choose. Now social and class mobility, you know what? That's a whole other topic. But I've been very elevated through my daughter. And I'll just briefly say the interesting part. So I invest in my daughter. I'm investing in her language. I'm investing in her health. I'm investing in her social activity. So the kind of social activities you do is very interesting. Again, you get the inclusion, but depending on the social activity, I've gotten so much through my daughter because I'm like, yeah, no, you're going to go to the yacht club. We have a yacht club. You're going to go to the junior yacht club, right? Now, why? I like swimming. I'm a lifeguard. Okay. I'm a lifeguard. You know what I mean? And what else was I going to say about that? I like swimming. I like boats. I feel like I was a pirate in a previous lifetime because it just makes no sense how much I like beaches, waters, and boats, right? I told you I'm going to France. What am I doing? One of the excursions I picked, a sailboat. Like boats and boats and boats. So of course I'm going to put her in junior yacht club. Also, I wouldn't mind if she grew up one day to work on a cruise ship or a sailing yacht because you can sail around the world, save up money, and then do whatever she wants. Whatever. But that's been very interesting too, because that has, you're starting to be in these elements of different people that you ordinarily wouldn't talk to, but now you're part of their crew, so that's just been very interesting, but that's a slower subject. So yes, Black women, if you have a biracial child, and I will say my experience is only as a lighter skinned biracial child, there is a level of inclusion. The men look at you as like, she's one of us, she's on our team. We not only can we talk to her, but she's choosing us. We'll make sure she knows what that means that she chose the winning team. Just saying that, because that's what's in their mind. And so it's interesting. I'm like, if I had another child, it's really beneficial to her life and my life in this current society we are in to marry another white guy and have a baby by them versus something else if I was being very strategic about it. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm just saying now that I know, it's very interesting. Like, their society can be, when they choose to include you, it does come with an ease. Especially as a woman, it comes with support, help, willingness to go out of their way to help out and assist, protection. And in the Black community, like, I had a dad, but he wasn't really protecting anything. I had brothers, they weren't protecting anything. You know what I mean? So it's like the first time I get to experience that was having a biracial daughter, right? And their society, which generally is pretty closed off. Like, and make sure I've been made very clear, white men are different than white women. Okay? So it just is what it is. It's just completely different. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Please, mothers of biracial kids, tell me about your experiences, dark skin or light skin. Let me know if this is something that's across the board. And not just ones that have the skin tone and phenotype of like Queen Charlotte or, Meghan Markle, right? So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts. I know this is very deep. This was something that took me a while because I had to understand I was trying to figure out like I said, at first I thought I was excluded, but I realized I'm not. No, I'm just as included as the mother. One guy said, it's like, well, you got the golden ticket, and so the respect for you. And then another guy was like, and because of how you present her and how she's just like a really nice kid, and we know that you put that into her. I mean, we look at you as like, wow, something to really respect. So it's not just her when she's around. Now, like I said, when she's around, do I get that? Nope, acceptance, depending on where you're at, but not inclusion, but with her inclusion, because her and me are a package. Isn't that interesting? So we're going to go to France. I'll let you know in France if it's the same thing. I have a feeling it is. Any last thoughts before I head on out? I hope you enjoyed this. This is a conversation of power, influence, and racism and where it converges for Black women. And the most precious thing apparently for inclusion in this society is choosing with your womb who you select as a mate. Out of all the things I have ever done, my education, the way I talk, my communities, my activities, that actually is like the game changer as far as being looked upon a certain way as, part of the tribe, right? And this is stuff none of y'all are going to talk about, but you're going to have these babies. I just wanted to tell you, this has just been very interesting. And I don't know if you guys have been following me. If y'all gonna treat me like a queen, I'm gonna take it. My only thing before I bring this up now is the why. I think I pretty much got my hand on the pulse of all the different layers. Competition, wanting you to choose our side, and now we know you're available to us, and you chose us, and you might choose one of us again to have another one of these child we think is so precious. So being selective with your womb that's in kings and queens when they were warring, what did they do? They send their kids. But as a Black woman in this country, it's very interesting as well, the level of what favor they'd carry from you because you made that selection once and could possibly, and that's the other thing, I could possibly do it again, right? Choose one of them. That's part of it as well. I find this fascinating. I find it very interesting. I find it something no one talks about. But please, moms in there, I know there's other moms, Black moms with biracial kids, let me know. I'd love to have a conversation in the comments, so please like and subscribe, and go ahead and share if you can, if you think this is interesting. And I hope that we guys have the emotional intelligence enough to understand that I'm just being analytical and observing what is. I'm not judging too much, but I think as a Black women, we just need to stop reacting and just start observing, and then do whatever you want with observations. Am I making judgments? No. The greater society is the greater society. There is a reason, though, with some of the things they do, I see why they maintain power, where we're not even thinking on that level. I think on that level now, so I recognize the game, and I'm trying to give it to you because I think it would benefit us in this world to start being more strategic about currying favor and having people give us their influence and power. Okay? It's just what I think. All right. I love to hear the discussion below. I know this is probably controversial, but get out your feelings and be strategic. I am strategic, so let's just start doing more of that. All right. Hope this is fun. Bye.